Hi everyone, it's Tuesday, so I'm here again to talk to you about some estate planning issues. As many of you know, I am super close to my family. I actually live with my parents, and my sister and her husband and baby live about 3 minutes walk away from here. So we're all super close. We see each other a lot. We talk to each other all the time. And one thing that I've really enjoyed about that is that as I've gotten older, and I guess as we've all gotten older, we can be helpful to each other in making really important life decisions. And one of those decisions that we've been through a couple of times, but recently and a few years ago, was it has to do with estate planning. And that was one that really brought us a lot closer. It was unexpected because it's such a, it feels morbid because you're talking about what happens when people die or are incapacitated. But for us, it brought us really close. We were able to learn things about each other we didn't know before. And we left with the confidence that we would be able to fulfill either our parents' wishes or my sibling, or, that we would be there for each other, and that what we wanted would be carried out by those people that we love and that we're so close to. So it really brought us a lot closer. So, a couple years ago, before I was an estate planning attorney, I helped my parents to find an attorney to do their own estate plan. And I didn't really have a lot of resources to help me through that. But I found after becoming an attorney that it might be really helpful for others to have that. So the newsletter that we sent out this week has a lot of detail on it. If you're interested in receiving it and didn't, feel free to email me. My email address will be in the post. And I'll be happy to get you on that list for the emails or for the newsletters, and you'll get this one that has more detail. So my first suggestion, I have a bunch of questions that I think are important to address with attorneys when you're looking to hire them or when you're looking to help your parents hire them, which is the role that I've spent the most time in with my family. So the first thing I think is important to know is, how do they do their billing? And as you can imagine, with any professional, and especially lawyers, you can expect that they need to be compensated for their time. Their time's worth quite a bit of money, and some attorneys really, really a lot of money. I guess I shouldn't just say attorneys, because there's a lot of professionals that can charge quite a bit of money. So it can become very important to understand how you're going to be charged and when you're going to be charged, so that you're not surprised by the billing. Personally, when it comes to estate planning, I think it's important to find someone who will bill you on a flat fee basis and who will tell you what that flat fee basis is upfront before they've performed the work, so that you don't owe them anything without knowing what you would owe them for that work that they did. I think that that second point of being upfront about what the costs are before that attorney performs the work on your behalf is really important, regardless of what you're retaining that attorney to do. As many of you know, I also practice in seeking justice for employees whose civil rights have been violated. And while we don't do that primarily on a flat fee basis, occasionally when it comes to some contract review or something, but that's usually a contingency basis, it's also still important, I think, to ask upfront, like, how am I going to be charged for this? Is there a consultation fee? How do you get paid for the work you do? It's important work, but I want to make sure that I can pay that bill and it's not wallop you up the side of the head when you get it. So that's my first point. The second thing, which applies most to estate planning, has to do with how the attorney sees their practice. And this is really to get at the difference between, some attorneys believe that their purpose is to provide you with the documents that constitute your estate plan. Really, any estate planning attorney who does an estate plan for you should provide you with the documents that constitute that plan. However, in my experience, it's very important to find an attorney whose focus is not just on creating and churning out documents, but whose focus is more specific to what are your goals, or if it's for your parents, what are their goals, and what are the dynamics and specific situations within your family that those goals are meant to protect. Once you have that in mind, yeah, there's going to be some documents that we go back and forth, or you with your attorney go back and forth to achieve those goals. But really the focus should be on listening to you or your parents as the client and the family, and advising and empowering both of you to make those decisions for yourself about what is best for your family. And then the attorney can just create the documents, yes, but that's kind of the side effect to the counseling rather than being the goal. And another thing that you want to look at for an attorney, whether you're hiring for yourself or your family, is what is that attorney's responsiveness like, and what are their ongoing communications like? Unfortunately, a lot of attorneys, including myself at sometimes in my practice, are known for taking forever to get back to our clients. And that's incredibly frustrating. And I can tell you that, at least on my behalf and everybody that I know, it's not that we're blowing you off. It's that we didn't have the proper systems in place to be able to get back to in a timely manner. So it's important when hiring an attorney to ask what systems they have in place. Whether they're a solo practitioner or a big firm, you want to know that they have the systems in place so that you will get a response and either be helped or have a way to book an appointment with that attorney so that you can talk to them. As far as ongoing communications go, that's particularly important when it comes to estate planning, because the law changes and the situations change in your life, your assets, and your family. So it's important to stay in communication throughout your lifetime with whatever attorney you choose to do your estate planning, and they need to have a system in place for proactively reaching out to you to make that happen. Many attorneys don't, and it's up to you to update your estate plan. I can tell you from experience, time flies and you forget. Prior to a few years ago and me getting my parents to update their estate plan, they hadn't updated their estate plan since my sister and I were small children. And, it still had all these provisions in there for where we go when they pass away to, be with my uncle, and that the money gets put in, my uncle's in charge of the money for us and everything, even though we're both adults. She has a family and I'm a professional. So it's important to check in on those things. You'd be surprised how many people don't, and it kicks you when it hurts the most, when you need it the most. The last thing, or there's two more things, sorry. One more thing that I'd like to talk about is the areas of practice that the attorney practices in. Some attorneys do what others of us refer to as front door law, in that they practice what comes in the front door. The days of that attorney being an effective estate planning attorney or even employment civil rights attorney are pretty far gone, I think. There are maybe some things that those types of attorneys can do, but our laws have become so specified and complex that it's important that attorneys stay up to date on the practice areas that they're practicing in. I can tell you that over the past few years, maybe a year and a half or so, I have had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours to educate me in estate planning. And over the 10 years that I've been practicing in the employment civil rights arena, I can't even count how many hundreds of hours I've had in educating me just on that area. I would never say that I'm capable of doing bankruptcy or some other type of law, although my clients often come to me for those things, and I help them to find somebody who would be a good fit for them and, to do that for them. So when looking for an attorney, it's good to understand what their practice areas are and if they're connected enough within the community so that they can really serve all of your legal needs, but only legally giving you advice for the areas that they really understand and know. The last area that you want to talk to any attorney who you're engaging about is what happens to your case or your matter when the attorney is unable to serve you, so they retire or they die. Attorneys should have a plan in place for this, and particularly when it comes to estate planning, they should have a plan in place that there's someone who's caring and practices in a similar manner that they do that will take over your matter when that happens, so that you will have someone to take care of you. And of course, at that time, it's your choice whether you want to stick with that attorney that your attorney's picked out, or you want to find somebody else. You never are forced to work with anybody, but you will have somebody that you can be confident your attorney would suggest and will practice in a similar way, so that you don't have to start over from scratch. Imagine having your parents get all those documents and everything together that took weeks of you pulling teeth to get from them in the first place. No fun. So make sure it's in place before you hire that attorney. Now, those are my tips to hire a new attorney. Also, as many of you know who've been listening to this, that one of my main goals in shifting my practice areas is to focus on educating the community to empower them to make the decisions that are best for them and their families. My way of doing this, and to also contribute to this kind of intergenerational conversation about important decisions in life, is that this month I'm going to be giving away 2 free personal family estate planning classes. In these, they'll be virtual, of course, because it's COVID time, but it will be great to have your parents, you, your siblings, and their spouses all on the same educational call, where I can teach you a little bit about the pitfalls and the benefits of estate planning currently here. And then you guys can decide as a family whether or not that's important for your parents or any of you to move forward with and get some planning in place. So if you're interested in one of those 2 free personal family classes, then feel free to reach out to me. You can even just comment below if that works for you, or DM me, email me, whatever works. And also, if you'd like more detail on the bullet points I've talked about as far as hiring an attorney, please feel free to reach out to me. I send out a newsletter, and this week's newsletter was on this specific topic. So there's a lot more detail in that, and I'm happy to get it to you and get you on the list so that you stay up to date. Otherwise, I hope that you are having a great holiday season, even though it has to be a little different, and that you and your family are getting closer every day. Thanks so much. Bye.